Good afternoon. Welcome to the Russell Show. Russell, how are you?
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Talking Tradesman with a petulant wife. Hello and welcome. It's been a while since my wife has featured on the podcast, and here she is in all of her glory today.
Yeah, the hatred that is spinning through his eyes right now. Like it's spinning.
So,
Let's talk
I
about.
can't lie.
Let's talk about.
The last half an hour has not been fun.
No, why has it not been fun?
You tell me.
You kept fiddling with the lights.
Look, we've got a few new bits of equipment which I'm trying to set up and get right. What's wrong with that?
Russell doesn't like spending time getting to know new things and gets frustrated when it doesn't do what he wants it to do.
Time is a commodity. So we now have new camera equipment, although I'm unconvinced at it at this point. So please check out the visual element of the podcast and see if it is vastly improved.
You sound like you're on a radio. You're not on BBC Hereford and Worcester right now.
I am on Thursday, actually.
Do you know why? Do you know what this? I think what's happening right now. This guy is getting a bit too big for his boots. He thinks he's a mini influencer.
Behave.
Oh, let's talk about it. Come on.
What are we talking about?
About you and your influencer-ness.
I'm not influencing anything.
This is what's behind his behaviour today.
This is false information. There's no. I'm boiling, you know.
Why did you put it on?
Because it's got the branding on.
All right, you take your T-shirt off and then put that back on. That could be fun.
So I'll look like something off E17.
Something wrong with E17.
E17's Christmas video.
They had Santa's outfits on.
Anyway, this episode is a catch-up. Am I allowed to call it a catch-up?
You call it what you want.
I'm allowed to call it a catch-up. I'm not allowed to call it a debrief, for the record, apparently. Why is that, Ange?
Because you like to talk a lot more than I do.
That is not what we discussed prior to recording.
Mm-hmm. And what's that?
You said, and I quote, that we couldn't call it a debrief because you hadn't got a lot to talk about.
I haven't.
Why is that?
Because I ain't done anything.
Well, you have been doing something, haven't you?
What have I been doing?
What have I got to tell you?
I haven't been doing anything.
You've moved.
Yeah, and that was stressful, wasn't it, Russell?
It was for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell the listeners why it was stressful?
Because he would not work to my structure. Like, when someone is a planner and they're methodical, then you get this chimpanzee over here messing with the structure and changing everything. When, I might add, I am highly stressed and you would not do as you're told. Like a good chimpanzee.
1,
2,
I'm not trained, so that would explain things.
You are.
And 2, if I'm being honest, your plan sucked.
No, it didn't.
So it was tweaked and adjusted for economy, and it worked out all fine in the end, didn't it? My way was the right way.
No, it weren't.
How was it not?
It just wasn't. It messed with my structure.
So, for the record, Angie's structure was to move a salon whilst being open.
Yeah.
To anyone listening, again, I think that's no,
it's completely logical.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
I'm not sure your logic aligned with mine.
Yeah, we're just on 2 different planets.
Anyway, we got it done in the end, and Ange has moved salon recently and therefore hasn't had much time to be podcasting. Isn't that correct?
That's correct, Russell.
There we go.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I have had a mad 2 months of the podcast. Since the last debrief, I believe there's been 10 episodes that have been recorded and gone out, not to mention the reason why I'm on the radio on Thursday again, which is to discuss the recent climb of Ben Nevis. Silence. For everyone listening, Ange was not exactly supportive of that.
Why?
Well, you tell me.
Because you kept posting pictures of snow fucking blizzards.
It wasn't a blizzard, it was a cloud.
It looked like a blizzard to me.
By which time I was nearly at the top.
And let's also talk about the fact that you had one job to remember one thing that was going to make me feel better about it.
So we've got to set the background here,
There is no
because
background.
I know what you're talking about, but anyone listening to the podcast will have no idea what you're talking about. So, would you like to tell me what that criteria was?
The
Not tell me, I
criteria,
know, tell them.
yeah. So the criteria was I've packed him a number of battery packs for his phone
Why?
because this guy can't go for a fucking walk without tripping over and grazing his knees.
Why did battery packs become a necessity?
Well, because who was going to save you otherwise? Ain't no one else going to come and fetch you, are
Well,
they? Who are you going to call?
and what's a
Who are you
battery
going to
pack going
call?
to do for me?
Huh?
What's a battery pack going to do for
So
me?
if you were stuck there for several days, you would be able to make calls.
Let's be honest, if I had fallen off the mountain, which clearly I didn't because here I am, I would be dead.
He's so cocky ever since he's climbed this mountain.
So I
Your
would not
ego
be in a
has so
position.
risen.
I would not be in a position to make phone calls, would I?
Well, I wasn't talking about you dropping off a mountain. If you got stuck there,
Why would I get stuck there?
why would you not? What if all the others fell off and you were stuck there?
So the reality is, Ange did not want me to go on this little adventure that I went on.
No, I gave you one instruction. One instruction is take the battery packs, all of them that I packed for you, and to take the cable. And what happened?
How many battery packs did you pack?
4.
And why did you have a meltdown?
Because you did not take the cable.
A cable.
Yeah, the cable for
One
the battery
cable.
pack.
So for the joy of anybody listening, I had not one, but 2 fully charged mobile
He's so
phones.
cocky. Why are you so cocky?
3 battery packs, one of which was wireless, one of which had a cable built into it, and the third one required a cable. So I forgot to take the cable for the 3rd battery pack.
Yeah.
And that caused the meltdown.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I own that. Because if you wish, I could be an uncaring wife and not worry about your sorry little ass that falls over all the time on walks.
Look.
Tell him.
Been a few
Tell
little
him about
falls.
that. Tell him about the time you fell over, that you walked to Worcester, which is like 15 odd miles, and I had to come and pick you up because you'd grazed your knees and your hands. No, was that not how it went?
No, that was not how it went.
Did not fall over.
My mission was to walk from the town I live in, being Stourport, to Worcester, to a particular pub, just to see if I could. And I did. And I met you at that pub.
And what happened in the middle of all of that?
I fell over.
Yeah, and grazed your knees.
Yes.
You had blisters on your feet.
Did I die though? I tripped over my laces and I grazed my knees and cut my hand. But I was perfectly healthy and sat in the pub with a pint when you came to meet me.
Yeah, completely broken up. Needed plasters and everything. So then you wonder why I worry about you going to climb a fucking blizzard.
Plasters, not stitches, though, to be fair.
That's cool. I can be uncaring.
For reference, the Climb of Ben Nevis was an organised charity event. There were 17 of us and we had 4 professional guides. So the likelihood of me getting into that kind of situation where I was on my own stranded, having ran out of battery juice for 2 phones, 2 battery packs, was very slim.
Doesn't matter. You knew that I was worrying. So all you needed to do is one thing.
It wasn't deliberate, though. I forgot a cable.
You would forget your life if it wasn't presented in front of you.
Well, I remembered the 2 phones and the 2 batteries and the 3 battery packs. I just forgot one cable.
Yeah, and that's the problem here.
As well as which, I had a massive bag on my back with crampons and ice axe, walking poles, food, things that might actually save my life.
Not necessarily. You can have all the food in the world, but if you die of hypothermia...
At least I'd have had a full belly.
You're a dickhead, honestly. This is what I've got to deal with. So, how many people made it up the mountain, Russell?
16.
How many of you were there?
17.
Oh.
Controversy. Mm-hmm. However, what I will say is I'm clearly visible on the pictures at the top. So I made it to the top. I mean, just to cover that, because I have been talking a lot about that on my socials. In fact, Sean Mapp was one of the guests previously on the podcast who came on to talk about his story, and he's the bloke who was behind the charity event that, you know, the group for which we climbed Ben Nevis in order to raise money for the construction charity Band of Builders, who are an amazing cause. We set a target of £5,000 to fundraise, and we closed the fundraiser at 5,500. And I know quite a few of the people that listen to the podcast donated to that. So I'll take this opportunity now to say thank you very much for your support.
Oh, fuck off.
So thank you very much for your support and anyone that donated to the cause. It's an amazing cause. I made it to the top. We raised £5,500 for a very worthy cause. And to be fair, it was an adventure. Well, you know the reasons I did it. I did it for a few reasons. One, because it was such a good cause, and two, to prove that I could.
Has it changed your life?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
I feel very smug because not only you, but also my son both told me that I couldn't do it.
Never
I
said
don't
you
like
couldn't.
to be told that I can't do things.
Oh, well, we got you there then, didn't we? Ha 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 ha.
Oh, so you're going to take credit for that now?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
All of it. And here you are. Now he thinks he's this influencer because he's getting
Where's
people
that come from?
Because you're getting people sliding into your
First
DMs.
of all, I do not think I'm going to take this off because I'm baking. I do not think that I'm an influencer.
You do.
How do I?
Who contacted you recently? Twice? 2 different companies?
For what?
Well, they wanted you to go on Your Mother, My Father.
Oh, oh yeah. Okay. So I've had a few offers from production companies to audition or go. Not even audition.
It's
Is
not
it
an
casting?
audition,
Casting
yeah.
call, whatever. Few TV companies have sent offers my way, which have been quite amusing. In fact, the first offer was the therapist one, actually.
And then he passed them on to me and then told me, no.
Yeah, there was that.
Because apparently I'm unhinged to go on things like that to do with therapy.
Right, again, because...
What the fuck?
Did you just see that?
I saw the fucking balloons.
How did that happen? For anyone that's watching, we've just had balloons in the studio, apparently. No idea what's gone on there. There's some kind of settings on Apple, you know, because I've done it before where...
But it's attached to the camera.
I thought I'd turn this off. Oh, no.
Turn what off? What are you doing?
There was a thing, right, and I put my thumb up during an episode, and it, like, put a bubble thumb on the screen, which I've turned off, so I don't know where those
Maybe
balloons
they're
came from.
congratulating you for being on the mountain.
Maybe. What were we talking about? The therapy offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for context of that, I was contacted by a company that wanted to record either myself or somebody that I could recommend to have therapy sessions on camera, which initially I thought, okay, that might be a good idea, raise the profile of the podcast. But when I thought about it, in order to do genuine therapy, it's got to be confidential. So there was a bit of a perversity to that for me in terms of it just didn't sit right ethically. So I swerved that one. Although you were game. Were you not?
Yeah.
Second offer was one that I was really up for, but Ange wasn't quite so keen, which was to appear on a programme called, was it My Mum, Your Dad, or Your Dad, My Mum, something like that?
I wonder why.
Which might have been a dating show.
Yeah.
And then most recently, another offer to go on something to do with an immigration journey, which would have been an adventure, but it involved being away for 4 to 6 weeks. And I definitely did not want to leave my beautiful wife for that long.
So patronising. The reason you ain't taken any offer or pursued it anymore is because you saw what your daughter looked at you and how she spoke to you. That was the crunch. There was Freya.
It was not that. It was actually more to do with the fact that I went to Snowdon for 3 days and didn't get spoken to for that time. So I thought 4 weeks might be pushing it a bit.
And do you think that maybe what I'd said to you, if you'd go, what I would do? What was I going to do, Russell?
Clean the house.
No, I was going to replace him for 6 weeks. Replace a husband for 6 weeks. Replace a dad for the kids, and then he would have to deal with it when he come back.
Stand-in.
Eh?
A stand-in.
Yeah, exactly that.
But obviously, being a conscientious husband and business owner, I was unable to accept their offer. However, I do not think in any way, shape or form
You're
I am
right,
an influencer. Babe. I don't know, I just had a short circuit.
Go and have a look at the last debrief and watch how his ego's grown.
What are you trying to do to me? It's like you're trying to cancel me from within my own podcast here. It's not that my ego has grown. Hopefully, I'm becoming more comfortable at doing podcasts. No?
I don't know.
Okay. So a big part of the last 2 months has been all the training that I did for climbing the mountain to make sure I
That
got
was
there
picking up his knife and fork.
to make sure I got there safely.
Oh, what training did you do, babe?
I did no training whatsoever. I did actually, to be fair, I went up the Malverns a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To be honest, though, that experience, it was a lot harder than I expected. So there were a couple of times on that climb where I was properly fighting my brain in terms of my mind telling me that I was done, that I couldn't go on any further. I pulled my groin about an hour and a half from 2 hours from the top, which meant lifting my right leg was fun. And there were a good few times where my head was telling me, that's it, just stop here. Nobody will know. You'll be fine. Wait for them. Catch them on the way back down. But it was a case of one step after another to get to the
Can you
top.
imagine if your other groin went? How would you got up?
I'd have crawled. In fact, at times I was virtually crawling. I underestimated how steep a mountain is, which is a great comment. But yeah, so it was challenging, a lot more challenging. It was probably the hardest thing that I've done physically, mainly probably in part due to the fact that I'm out of shape, and then trying to do that while being out of shape. Long pause.
How do you feel now?
About what?
You climb.
How do I feel now? Accomplished. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I set out to do it, and I said that I would, and I did. Yeah, no, I feel happy that I accomplished it. I proved a point to myself that I could get up there, raise money for a good cause, hopefully also along the way raised awareness for men's mental health, which was the whole background of it. I mean, ultimately, there were 17 lads, all from the construction industry and the surrounding industries, that took that on for the same message, which was to raise mental health awareness in the construction industry. So it's a lot, you know? I mean, moving on from that, one of my guests that came on a few weeks ago, Bryn, he then did the Three Peaks Challenge with 14 others for exactly the same reason. All those lads coming out of the building trades to raise money for Mine Charity in memory of two of their friends that sadly have taken their own lives. So it just proves, I mean, over that two groups, there's 31 lads there that have taken on those challenges just in the past 2 weeks to raise awareness for this, which is great. It's fantastic to see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, feel good about it. How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't have no feelings.
I don't have no feelings.
No, I have no feelings towards your climb. Mainly because you forgot the fucking cable.
Okay,
I will never let that cable situation go.
I would understand this if I forgot the ice axe.
You wouldn't be saying that.
I forgot my crampons.
You wouldn't be saying that if you were in a position where you potentially would never see your kids or your wife again.
I wouldn't know anything about it, would I? I'd be dead.
No, you could be just stuck there having a slow, painful death. Slowly freezing to death from the inside out.
That's a good point, actually. It was -10 at the top of there.
That's barely nothing.
Huh?
Do you know the weather is in Poland?
I knew you were going to go to Poland before
I was going to go.
Yeah. Right, okay. What's the weather in Poland?
-24, sometimes -30.
Why did you refer to Poland?
Because
Little
it's
known
cold.
fact.
Huh? Why?
Yeah, why Poland?
Because I'm half Polish and I've been there.
See,
in the winter.
give a message to my Polish list. I've got one chap who I know is half Polish, half German, actually. Give a message in Polish to our Polish listeners.
On jest głupi wariot.
Okay, she's probably just insulted me in one way or another.
Yes, I have. Do you know what I said about you?
No.
You're a fucking idiot.
What was that again? Repronounce that.
On jest głupi wariot. Can you say it? Come on.
On jest głupi wariot.
You sound like a German.
Polski ślep. It's about the extent of my Polish.
7 years.
Kurwa.
Yeah, 7 years. I didn't teach you kurva.
Kurva.
You'd have known that
Where
one
would
from
I got
before.
that from?
It's not
Definitely
from me.
from you.
No. You had
Kurwa.
some Polish people you've worked with before. You've told
Nope.
me about. You have.
It was definitely you shouting at the dog. That was where that came from.
That listened.
There we go. So yeah,
Anyway, shout
Angie's
out to
half
the
Polish.
shout out to the Polish person. I wasn't calling you a głupi wariot. I was calling him a głupi wariot.
Him being
You,
charming.
my husband.
See the abuse I have to put up with.
Well, you've spent a while winding me up, so here we are.
I've been winding you up.
Yeah. I've been sat patiently waiting whilst you fiddle around with cameras and lights.
You have not been in a happy mood today, let's be honest.
I've been fine till I saw you.
See what I mean?
Are you going to drop the mic and get out and walk out, stop recording?
And on that note, yeah, so what else has been going on? Last 2 months, you've moved. I've climbed a mountain. I've had 10 guests, which has been, to be fair, the podcast, it's going, I say, a lot better than I thought it would, but it's it's doing really well. I'm really enjoying it, and kind of amazing to look back actually and think that it was only January was the first time that I've had guests in, and I believe now there's 16 guest episodes with another 11 booked in moving forwards.
You're forgetting one vital situation that you forgot to mention.
What's that?
You know, just small, insignificant sponsors. Hello.
Obviously, my sponsors are not insignificant. A big thank you to the podcast sponsors who are responsible for me being able to reinvest in things like the new lighting, which is burning me, and the new cameras that have frustrated the hell out of me.
Which he's only spent literally 20 minutes with. You want to know how long the tech department spends technalizing everything. But I seem to manage to stay calmer than you.
My tolerance for technology is low. I just need it to work. That's why I have a tech department.
What are you paying me?
Huh?
What are you paying me?
What am I paying you in my love and attention?
Oh, so charming.
What's this doing here?
Because I'm part of the set. He wanted my flowers out of the way, which look better, in my opinion. Now this guy has this back up. So out of a tantrum, I went and picked the thing back up and brought it to me.
Yeah, so for anyone wondering, that's why there's some flowers on the floor. Anyone who's actually watching the episode at this stage.
Well, they won't be watching it at this stage, will they? Because we're recording it.
All right, well, that's very pedantic.
So what else you been up to, Russell?
Not a lot, really. Well, I say not a lot. A lot. I've been up to a lot. However, I mean, there's been 10 episodes recorded, so that's a lot of guests to go through. I know originally we talked about recapping, but each one of those guests has had a very different story. I mean, I've had people like Diane on talking about the menopause.
Finally, this guy got an insight to what it is like to be a 40-something-year-old woman. What did you learn?
I learnt to run. No, joking aside.
You're going to have all the feminists after you.
I know. Obviously, there's a bit of banter between me and my angry wife here. But yeah, Diane's episode was very informative. And
what did you learn?
What did I learn? I learned a lot about the menopause, perimenopause, why it happens, how it happens, when it happens. And, you know, obviously it's going to be a situation that we're going to have to navigate in the very near future.
Oh, we're here.
It's a situation that anyone that's in a relationship is going to have to navigate. So it was interesting to hear the facts and things. It's one of those things where you got to fight your nature, isn't it? Like in terms of, say, me and you, and if, picking up on if you were having mood swings, I say tentatively, and not blaming myself for it and pulling that into our relationship. Like, it's one thing knowing the facts, supposedly, but being an overthinker by nature, for me, generally, I'm still going to have that battle of thinking it's me.
So now that you don't think it's you, how have you helped me?
Helped you now?
Yeah, in my perimenopause state.
Would you say you're in perimenopause now?
Yes.
How have I helped you?
Right now. Yeah. How have you helped me?
Right now,
Right now.
in this minute,
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
How have I helped you?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
You haven't. So you need to literally go and have a session with Diane and sit down again and think about it.
Is this me getting told off live on a podcast?
Yes.
And why have I not helped you?
Huh?
What have I done that has not
Because all
helped
you
you?
do is just aggravate me more.
Aggravate you more in what area?
In your like just breathing.
Just breathing.
Just breathing.
Aggravating breathing.
Yeah.
You hear that, gents? Try not to breathe. So yeah, had an episode with Diane. Glad I brought that one up. But also people like Jake, who used to work on submarines. All sorts, really.
We all live in the yellow submarine.
See, here's an interesting point, right? And I only thought of this when Jake was here.
Yellow submarine.
The thought of going on a submarine is terrifying to me.
I would never do it.
Exactly, right? But in reality, being on a submarine is just a tube underwater. We're happy
Which
to
can go pop goes the weasel.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know a lot about it, would you?
I fucking would. I'd feel every bit.
Or tube in the sky, i.e.
Eh?
an airplane. Same thing, really. But we're happy to get on an airplane, but I
But
would
there's
not get on a submarine.
I feel like there is more chance of you imploding under the water.
Well, of course, you're not going to implode in the sky.
Well, explode.
Well, you're more chance of exploding in the sky.
I don't know. I'd rather take the plane.
Oh, I would rather take the plane. It's just when I thought about it, like the two things are very similar, really.
No.
Jake actually said, though, that they have leaks.
Oh, lovely. Why would
you
you want to?
imagine that?
Why would he want to do that to himself?
That was his job.
You'd go out of your mind. Your anxiety would reach 10,000.
I couldn't do it. There's no way. I wouldn't even get on like one of them tourist submarines. You know, have you seen those ones that are like jet skis that go under the water? I wouldn't even do that.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I've never fancied scuba diving either. I feel weirdly claustrophobic about underwater. Don't know
So
why.
the Eurotunnel's out of the question then.
I'm sure I've been on the Eurotunnel,
Mm.
but because you wouldn't feel like you were in it. I feel like on a submarine it would be unavoidable that you would know you were underwater.
But it's the same thing. The Eurotunnel.
Well, the Eurotunnel, yeah, but you're in a car, aren't you? Or it's like a train. It's like being on a train.
Mm.
So no, I wouldn't really want to go on a Eurotunnel if I could avoid it, I guess. And then I've had episodes with people like Mark Williams where we talked about male postnatal depression, which was an interesting topic, and post-traumatic birth PTSD. I've also had Andrew Jenkins from the BBC. Was it BBC or ITV? Ooh, ITV, The Traitors. One of those
that's
channels.
BBC.
Is it?
It's BBC, yeah.
Oh, it is BBC. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. So, so had Andrew on from The Traitors. Like I say, I've had 10 different episodes. In fact, I'm going to upset people, aren't I? So, Rossi as well. We had Rossi on. Can't remember. The last debrief was February, wasn't it? So, let me have a look. See who's been on in the last couple of months. Entertain the audience while I'm scrolling on my phone, Ange. Verbally, probably.
Nanu, 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 nanu.
Oh, wow. Right. Yeah, there's been loads, actually. So I've had Rich from Major League Painter, Diane, Sean, Paul Moughton. His story was really interesting as well. The chap who'd got OCD with invasive thoughts. So again, really interesting episode. Joe Baker, Second City Screed. He talked about sort of mental health and addictions. Again, really interesting conversations. Bryn Williams, Jake from Jake and Vac, Mark Williams, Andrew Jenkins. That's all 10. So I've mentioned everybody now. But each and every one of them were very different episodes, very different demographics. What I'm trying to do is cover as many points as possible for the mental health picture. So yeah, it's been a really good 2 months. Got a load more to come up.
Why don't you talk about how the sponsors came about?
The sponsors. Okay, yeah, so we got sidetracked there. So my fantastic sponsors so far being Brewers Decorators Centre. Shout out to you guys for your support on the podcast. Two Fussy Blokes and most recently HB42, who are all brands within the decorating industry. And all those guys have jumped on board and given their support and back into the podcast in terms of raising mental health awareness in the construction industry. So they've all looked at the podcast, they all love the message, and they wanted to show their support through sponsorship of some episodes, which in turn has allowed us to reinvest in some better equipment. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Now the
so
tech department is full time.
that's it. I would say the tech department's happy, but I wouldn't go that far right now.
Far happier than you.
Once we master it all, we will be happy.
You're waiting for me
Yes.
to master it, because Russell will not be spending any time after this point, after he's just had his experience with the camera, doing any more.
Camera looks all right, though, doesn't it? What do we think? Is it all right?
I don't know. You're
What are we
looking at
saying?
it.
Leave some feedback on the episode. What are we saying about the cameras? And if you can't notice any difference, let me know, because I've still got the receipts.
No, you ain't though, because remember I switched them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, massive thank you to the sponsors so far, and not to forget Creative Branding Workwear, who have sponsored all of the guest merchandise. So all the hoodies, T-shirts and things that I'm sending the guests away with as a thank you for travelling and giving up their time are sponsored by Creative Branding Workwear. So yeah, it's all going well. Hopefully, the door's open to anyone else that wants to get involved there. The sponsorships are a limited amount of episodes, so it has got sort of like an expiry date on it, as it were. So there's still loads of room for any other brands that might want to partner with the podcast. We're always looking, constantly looking, got big ideas of where it could go and what we could do. So yeah.
We. Oh yes, because I'm your
Tech department.
What else am I? Marketing. Agent.
Marketing.
Agent.
Whoa.
Agent. Manager.
Agent.
Admin.
You'd be no kind of a good agent, would you? You'd just be saying, no, he can't do that. No, he can't do that. Is there any risk? No, he can't do that.
I'm sorry, but is it not me that's sliding into people's DMs?
Who? You want to make potential guests, aren't you?
Yes.
Right. Well, the marketing.
Why have you got your sponsors? Where did the media pack come from?
It was my idea.
I put the fucking thing together.
You
did.
The
template is mine.
But it was my idea.
What was?
It was my idea.
The media pack?
Yes.
I already had one.
You already had one?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
None of your business.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, as you can see, it's a really harmonious partnership that we've got going on here.
I'm going to stop you.
Why? You can't say things like that. The top of your microphone's about to fall off, by the way. Can you push that back on?
What?
There we go.
Why
that
so
made
bothered?
Me happy. Huh? Because things like that bother me.
Some weird-ass OCD.
Maybe, possibly. But that's okay.
Why did you buy me a Hoover for my moving in present to the salon?
Because you needed one.
Why did I need one?
Because of the amazing floor that I put down. Why have you asked me why I bought you a Hoover?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Why?
Why did I buy you a Hoover? So you could hoover hair?
Yeah, but why?
Why did you break your Hoover?
I didn't break it. It broke itself.
This is very broken now.
It still worked today. Either way, I developed OCD over hair falling on the floor, on that new floor that you laid, that just distributes it. It's like the hair drops and it just literally pings everywhere like it's on a bouncy castle.
Are you a hairdresser, though?
Yes.
So is that not to be expected?
Yes. But I've never felt like it's distributed this way. Maybe it's the heating.
The heating?
Well,
I've no idea what
it was so cold in the old salon that it's like definite. It just comes off your head and it just lands. Whereas heat swells everything. So then it just pings.
So are you happy in your new salon?
Yes, I am.
That's good to know. What was the reasons behind your move?
We already discussed that in the last podcast.
In your podcast, not in mine.
Why would people be interested in
Because
my
everybody loves you, Angie.
It's because I bring your comedy.
I don't know about comedy. I feel like I've just had an hour of abuse. Has it been an hour? Feels like it. It's been 35 minutes.
It feels
This
like
has
it's
been
been
the
3 hours.
longest 35 minutes of my life.
I moved because I've been feeling like I've needed to expand and spread my wings a little further. And in order to be able to do what I wanted to do, um, I couldn't do it where I was. Did it make sense to move locally to do what it is I wanted to do? No. So the new place came about literally by accident. Like, oh, you want me to explain that too?
Accident?
Yeah.
You got a weird version of accident.
But it was an
You're
accident.
speaking very cryptically. So
I'm going to
essentially,
explain.
we live in a small town
Mm.
and you've moved to Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
which is obviously, as everyone will know, is a big city.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. Yeah. So I moved
Mm-hmm.
because I needed to broaden my horizons. And the accident came when I viewed a friend's place, Molly.
Tripped, fell, landed in a, as Eminem would say.
Tripped, fell, landed on his dick.
Well, hopefully there was none of that going on. Tripped,
If you would have
fell.
gone for 4-6 weeks, I could
Oh,
have tripped and
really?
fell.
That's okay. I can get a holiday wife. That's cool.
Good luck with that. She'll need you for a passport. Lucky for you, I don't need you for a passport being an official illegal, well, not illegal immigrant, but I am an immigrant.
Could you get a Polish passport?
Yes, I could.
Interesting.
I used to be on one. That was my first official passport, was being on my mother's passport. So my first official passport was an actual Polish one, but I was born in the UK.
Oh, no, you were born in the UK. I just wondered for a moment whether you could get a dual nationality.
I can, yeah. Well, my brothers and my sister have English passport, American passport, and Filipino passport. So they got 3.
You actually have a separate, I mean,
Yeah, they
going
are.
off piste here.
They
You actually
are.
have a separate book.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
there's
not just
several.
like one that's 2 colours
No,
down the
they're
middle.
literally official, different passports.
Yeah. Okay. But you won't. You can pick which one you travel with.
Yeah, you do what you want, innit?
Interesting.
So if I wanted to identify as Polish for one day, then I could just turn that one on.
Indeed.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Polski sklep.
You're going to be a Polish shop tonight. So yeah. So you've been on the move and very focused on that.
I have, yes. I have. It's nice to feel like I'm warm.
Are you getting back to podcasting?
I am, yes. So I obviously had a month off because I didn't want the distractions of having to look after doing as many of the things that I do on a daily basis anyway, but I needed to focus on setting myself up and reestablishing myself in a new area, because that's in effect what's happened. I'm in a brand new area. I've had clients that have certainly followed, and I'm absolutely grateful for every single client that's made the effort. I had one today that hasn't come, is from Birmingham, but hasn't been back in many, many, many years. And today was that day. And she came with flowers.
Cute.
So yeah, I've had a lot of really sweet clients that have bought cards, chocolates, so many chocolates, and also cards.
You said cards first.
Oh, did I?
Cards, chocolate cards.
And flowers. Yeah. And then Pure Offices, I just want to add, have been brilliant in terms of my moving in.
Do you think they'd fancy sponsoring a podcast?
Well, you'll have to ask them yourself, Russell.
There's an angle, isn't there?
Well, yeah, would make sense. But yeah, they when I first moved in, I got this massive hamper with biscuits in, loads of different bits and bobs. I got a card, and then I got like my little moving in box with all my bits and pieces that I've needed for like the Wi-Fi and all of that. And then I left a review about obviously my experience, and they sent me in a box of chocolates.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. They've been bang on over there,
Yeah,
haven't they?
and then literally recently, Els and I had to do a little bit of marketing modeling with them because they needed just human bodies for their like set up for
But you
the
know what?
business.
I'm actually, because I believe in the whole visualization thing, I'm going to put it out there into the universe now. I would love for us to be able to move the podcast to that location,
Mm,
because those offices are a step up from what we've got now. This is, to be honest, when we took on this studio,
mm,
it felt perfect.
mm.
But because of the uptake of the podcast and how well it's gone and how much we've learned already, it now feels like the next big upgrade would be location for me, anyway.
I think what Russ is saying, he's getting itchy feet. There's so much equipment in here,
There
and there's
is.
just not enough space.
Well, there is that, and obviously we've got the equipment that we've got the software that we've got that edits out a lot of the background noise, but we've had a few issues with the location, haven't we? Things like band practice. I mean, today's Tuesday, and in 25 minutes' time, we're going to have death metal booming through
Oh,
the
they
building.
would not want to go there with me here.
But yeah, so there's been a few teething issues, shall we say. So it would be nice to, the next big upgrade, hopefully, will be location of the studio, which would be cool. So I'm going to put that out there now and make that come into fruition.
So if I can just finish my Pure Offices story off, please. So we did a little bit of modelling for them, and I saw the upstairs. Oh my God, it was so big, so airy, just massive. Anyway, what I was trying to get at was, as a thank you, they're taking us all on Friday to Herbert's Yard.
Okay, cool.
And for those of you that don't know what Herbert's Yard is, oh my God, it's literally over the road and it's all street food. We've eaten there like 2 times this week,
Too
haven't
many
we?
times. That's a problem. If I worked there, it would be a real issue.
I don't really go there much, but it's like once every other week, something like that. But they're taking us there, but they do lots of like street food, and they change it so it's not the same street food. So it could be like jerk chicken stuff, it could be like curries, southern fried chicken, steak. That steak we had the other day
They have
was
six
a
or
ribeye.
seven, don't they? 6 or 7 different like street food vendors under one roof, and it changes every week. It's a really cool place, which is
Yes.
literally just opposite Angie's new salon. So as I said, for me, it would be lethal. I'd be in there every day, I think.
Yeah, literally.
But it is. It's a
Literally.
really good location.
Need to try Peppers. Peppers is good.
Apparently so.
Yes, yes, it is. But yeah, long term, that would be like the ideal upgrade is Pure Offices, because it's just got everything that you want in it. There's 24 hours access.
It's quiet.
It's quiet, yeah. Really, really quiet, and it's just really, really professional.
There you go. It's out there in the universe now. Check back in 6 months' time and see if the backdrop is still the same as this. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one. But you've got to aspire to these things, haven't you? You've got to sort of set those targets and make it work.
He's taken a leaf out of my book,
Maybe
being a little bit more impulsive.
impulsive. No, I
Impulsive.
wouldn't say impulsive. If
Oh,
it was
I'm the one that's.
impulsive, I'd already have signed up.
I have to be the one that does the pushing and the impulse. Don't think it'll be naturally in you. I have to make the impulse move for you then to walk.
There's got to be a certain level of backing to make that commitment, because it's a big step up financially from where we are.
So if you like what you hear, if you want to sponsor the podcast for longer periods of time, please do. The tech marketing and agent is all ears.
You need to look at the camera, not the laptop. We're up there. The people are in there. The people are in that little box.
Yeah, they're also in there. We're also in their ears.
Yeah, I know, but you were looking down here.
Yeah. Oh well, I can look over there too.
You can do if you want to. So yeah, it's all about goals and aspirations, isn't it? But I've got some really cool guests lined up over the next. I think I've got people booked in for about the next 6 to 8 weeks, to be honest. So yeah, looking forward to jumping back in.
I've got an interesting one this Sunday.
Oh, you have actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually someone I met for the first time. So she was a new client. She came in for like microblading, and for all you that don't know what that is, it's semi-permanent brows, and that's basically tattooing.
Tattooing eyebrows for the building trade.
Yeah. So she is and was war veteran. She'd served a number of times in Afghanistan, and we talked about like PTSD and trauma and stuff like that. And I actually invited her on my podcast because you hear men that have talked or spoken about being at war, but you don't really hear about women being
That's a
in
good
that
point, actually. I
environment.
can't think of any female veterans that I've seen or listened to.
No, I haven't
Yeah,
either. So I think this will be, and she's really open to talk as well. So I feel like she will say things
that'd be really
that's
interesting.
really real to the scenario. And she says like the support side of it as well. She talked about that in the appointment, but also spoke about like other war veterans that understand her, and being able to speak to various different types of people, because only certain people would understand how they may have felt in that moment. I think she got it. She was blown up as well. So I'm intrigued to dive in a little bit further into that
Yeah,
and understand what happened.
it's interesting that you say that, because what I'm finding with the podcast is that different episodes obviously resonate differently with people, and it is about that connection of similar experiences. But I guess from war veterans, that's a really niche group where people, they're only going to, such an extreme thing, isn't it? Like, there's not many people, the average person can't resonate with somebody having somebody shoot at them. So I guess it's, other veterans is probably their best natural support group.
I've also got. I'm looking forward to this one as well. Dolly May. She's someone that I met at the awards that I've been to. I actually, she was quite striking because she was like gothic, like a Barbie, but like a gothic version. So I naturally gravitate to people that are a little bit unusual. So I'm really interested to see her story, because she's gone through a journey where she was overweight, lost all of the weight, and completely has transformed her whole visual self. And so I think we're going to talk about how that might have impacted her, the person that she was versus who she is now. But she also gets ridiculously trolled a lot as well. So yeah.
Cool.
As,
Yeah, sounds like you got some good content coming up.
You've had some trolls as well, haven't you? I have too.
Yeah, I've already forgotten them. I can't even remember what the what the comments were, to be honest.
Nino, Nino.
Oh yeah. Got trolled by a police person supposedly, but it's all subjective, isn't it? I mean, what people write on their social bio, it doesn't mean it actually was a policeman. But yeah, took exception to one of the clips that was published, because it was a clip of Gary when he mentioned punching a police officer. Although the context of the clip was very obvious, it wasn't a dig at the police.
And just to put it out there, like podcasting, ultimately, we as podcasters want people to listen or watch our podcast. So therefore, you're going to leave things on a cliffhanger,
Yeah,
you
that's a good
know,
point, actually,
clickbait.
because, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, it is clickbait.
Yeah, it is.
And it is something that I've battled with, in terms of, we can see the analytics and the engagement of what we post. And unfortunately, human nature dictates that people tend to gravitate towards the negative and the more shocking content. And when it comes to what we put out on social media, my mission with the podcast is to grow the audience, to help as many people as possible. But the way to grow the audience is to put out the things that hook people in and make people aware that the podcast is there. And I think part of that is the social media algorithms, because it has to have like instant engagement to then get shown to new people. And it is these clips where you do have to bait people in that makes them want to find out what happened there, what was the
What
rest
happened
of that
next?
clip.
I mean, amount of time I've been down a TikTok rabbit hole, I'm like
Yeah.
literally like I go for
Yeah.
hours, and then I get wound up when it's part one, part two, and it's like, when am I ever going to see that again? But it knows.
But
It knows. It shows you
the
again.
thing is, though, I don't know about you, I've certainly had a conflict with myself where I've thought, I hope this isn't coming across as disrespectful to my guest. Like, because you're taking those little snippets.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, it's stuff that the guest has said, but the context in a
How
1
you're
minute
wording
clip,
it.
can be missing. So I try to do it as respectfully as possible with still, the background of growing the platform
Mm-hmm.
to reach as many people as possible, to help as many people as possible.
What's interesting, though, about the people that do troll is they end up listening to it anyway.
Yeah. It's a
Like,
weird mindset.
yeah, and I think they're just so unaware of how the media world work. They're just so unaware. They don't realize why people do what they do. Ultimately, it is for views, it is for likes and
Yeah,
downloads and
it is.
subscribing. That is how a podcast works and grows.
It's a catch-22, isn't it? Because genuinely, I can honestly say I don't care about likes.
Apparently, I care about likes.
You?
Do you think I care about likes?
Well, no. What I was going to say was
side dig.
what?
Side dig, not to
Who,
you.
me?
No,
Oh, right. I was going to say I'm like
not you.
unaware of what's going on there. I genuinely don't care about likes, but I care about likes
In the
in
growth.
terms of knowing that if content gets likes, it is being shown to more people. I mean, one of the clips of Gary alone was shown to 210,000 people, which is great because then that can resonate with. It doesn't matter to me; it's an odds game. But if it's shown to 210,000, it might resonate with 20. It might be a tiny percentage, but if that helps 20 people that come and listen to the podcast, find out the whole story, and it resonates because they've heard something and thought, shit, I've been through that. And that's what it takes normally. But it is that growing a platform, you need to put out that content and you need to be mindful of the engagement on it because that's how it grows. So it is like it's a little bit of a contradiction in itself, really. But yeah, it's interesting getting because I before the podcast I didn't really know a fat lot about socials and how they work. I was on one social media platform through my business because it's the most marketable thing, which was to use Instagram for my decorating business. But now looking at things like YouTube, TikTok, like LinkedIn, yeah. I mean, I'm a
We still
massive
don't know
novice
what
to all
that's all
this, but
about.
we're getting
I've been
there.
on it for over 20 years.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to this. I'm not getting my little violin out here, but when it comes to podcasting, there's a lot more to it than what we first. Hands up, when we started this, I literally thought, a camera, microphones, we're done.
Welcome to editing.
I'm still not on board with editing.
Well, in order for your podcast to grow, you best get
One
au
day.
fait.
But yeah, there's so much to it, isn't there? The visual, the cameras. And again, people might be thinking, I'm talking about thanks to the sponsors, we've upgraded the camera equipment, and people are thinking, what's a podcast? We don't, it might be that 80% of the people listening to this right now are doing so audio only. Me personally, I only listen to podcasts
But
audio.
then you've got someone like me who's a complete visualist, and I like to connect with the person that I'm listening to.
True. But again, we need the visual content to produce the
clips.
social media content that then brings the audience to listen to the audio. So it's this cycle.
Vicious circle.
Yeah, and you have to tick as many of the boxes as you can. So there's a little insight into the background workings of what we're doing here. And on that point, that's about it. Yeah, so I'd say that's a good little catch up.
That's a wrap.
I've had a tiny little break, to be fair. I've had a 2-week break from recording. So I'm back to recording Saturday. Back to jumping into it. I'm looking forward to that. And keep your eyes out. So for anyone that's still listening at this point, thank you very much for listening.
Toodaloo.
And there will be a debrief at some point in the future.
That's if I haven't throttled him and hid his body.
Well, I'll have people looking for me now, won't I? Because they're waiting for these episodes to come out.
I'll just AI you.
AI me.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's the future. Thank you very much for listening and stay tuned for the next episode of the Talking Tradesman. Actually, last thing before I go.
And the Angie Monroe podcast.
Angie Monroe podcast.
Yeah.
Before I go, please like and subscribe on YouTube. There we go.